status bar. Not even 50%. Okay, here we go. I want to be able to see it on my. Okay. Done there. All right, we should be on YouTube Live right now. I want to make sure by going to a different account on YouTube to see if it's there. Yes, it is. So we are live, and I just wanted to come on here. This is Poor Man's Commish. Let's Go Warriors, your credentialed Warriors news reporter, insider. And I'm here with Rebecca Licht, who has been for years the Let's Go Warriors live tweeter during games, but also now she is associate sports director at WNYU Radio in New York City. So welcome to the show, Rebecca.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So I thought we would do more live reports here because they're easier to do than actually doing my glorified slideshows. Actually, those are what they are, or glorified little video clips like the one I did on Wiseman yesterday morning, which was why we should pick Wiseman in the first place. He's a no-brainer. And those take a lot of effort. It's like for every 10 minutes, I probably have to spend 2 or 3 hours on, where we can just come on here and sort of aggregate all of the information that we have had, sometimes have special guests, sometimes not, like tonight, although you are kind of a special guest, but sort of like co-hosts tonight. But anyways, we got to catch you up on, the day of the draft, because I'm beat. Like yesterday, spent 4 hours on this live stream. My back was killing me. My co-hosts on there did a tremendous job, and they're basically in recovery phase today. So just like NBA players got to recover from their games, we got to recover from our live streams. So, all right, Rebecca, let's just get into it, because what happened yesterday was just a day we will never forget. Wake up in the morning. Actually, I think it was actually in the afternoon, because if we look back at the IG story, we were going to have Klay's trainer on our live stream, on our giant live stream. And later on, towards the afternoon,
Probably
he,
about 3 o'clock.
thank you, respectfully, he bowed out. And I noticed that on his IG story, he did his typical once in a blue moon picture from the gym, which meant he was training Klay. That was around 12 o'clock. And then right after that, he reposted our Let's Go Warriors live advertisement, the first one that I did. And so that was around 12 o'clock. And then boom, we just kind of fell off a cliff, right? So it was just entering the draft with such depression. Tell me your feelings.
I honestly, the minute I saw like that tweet come up, I honestly could have cried. Not even just like for me as a fan, but for Klay. I mean, I
Oh
never
yeah.
want a player to get injured, but of all players, there's hardly a guy in the league that loves the game purely as much as Klay Thompson does.
Right.
And I think just the way it happened too. And it's like Klay is one of those guys that no matter who I talk to, no matter what team they root for, no matter who their favorite player is, any of that, they all love Klay Thompson. And I think it's the
Right.
same for players around the league. So it's like, first off, he gets injured in the finals, which is like gut wrenching completely. But then the fact that this happened on what was going to be like, everyone thought, like the second jolt into the dynasty.
Yep.
That like just
Interesting. You brought up he's one of the favorite players in the league. Actually, in Bob Meyer's introductory conference of the draft picks, Wiseman and Nico Mannion today at Chase Center, he literally said that he was talking to either a coach or a GM, and that person said, I can't remember whether it was a coach or GM, that person said that Klay and Derrick Rose are the two most, loved guys in the league. So it kind of makes you wonder, was he talking to Coach Thibs?
And
But
I
anyway,
think it's like one of the first guys to tweet out like hoping for him was LeBron. And like I always think that kind of
yep,
has like says something. But then you had like just
CJ
across the
McCollum,
league between Trey Young, Bradley Beal.
Trey
I
Young,
mean,
yeah,
he
they all
is one of
tweeted.
the players that I think exemplifies what the league wants to be about in his training style, the amount he's improved over the years, but just his, and I mean, as someone who's gotten to talk to him and stuff in person, he is just
Yeah,
this really genuine, nice guy. It's not a
yep,
front, it's none of that. He's just this low key, nice guy that just, I feel like no matter where you stand competitively, you can't help but root for him.
man, we
Except for
could we
maybe
could
those
really
OKC fans in game 6 back in 2016.
well, we could really feel your compassion and I just the toughest thing is that he just literally came back from the ACL and now this. Um, so anyways, let's move on a little bit. First of all, I want to try and get Charlie Torres, his trainer, back for a live because yesterday was just too depressing for him. He DM'd me. I said this on the live. He DM'd me and said, um, "Hey, I'm stuck in traffic, so I don't think I can make it." And I was like, he probably is stuck in traffic, but he's probably like kind of glad he's stuck in traffic because he doesn't want to talk to us. He doesn't want me to grill him on all the details and stuff. And then and then I said, well, you could come on later. And then he was like, there's just too much going on. And I'm like, no problem, bro. Let me let you go, and we'll just talk whatever. Also, we'd like to get David Alexander back. Him saying Wiseman is a future Hall of Famer, going to be better than David Robinson. We're still splicing that video. We're still recovering from the live stream, but we want to splice that for you guys. And David told me today, I DM'd him again, and he was like, yeah, I've dealt with guys all the time who have to do this type of rehab. So we want to kind of delve into the mental challenges. So that's for the future. But you know what, Joe Lake, Bob Myers, what can you say? Did they turn around the emotional roller coaster that we're going on right now? Went and got Kelly Oubre just like that with the TPE that we've been waiting on. It's going to expire in a few days, anyways. Wow,
I mean,
great move.
yeah, I think this was just a phenomenal trade. There was rumors kind of coming out about it this morning, and I like had my fingers crossed all day because I mean,
Yeah,
no one can replace Klay. Ultimately, that's it, and that's a fact. However, they have managed to put together, even before a lot of other moves take place, a really solid competitive team in the West. I mean, James
yep,
Wiseman, personally, he's who I wanted them to pick. I think
yeah.
my comparison for him is like a younger, kind of different, but potential Andrew Bogut like role.
Hmm.
Protects the
Okay.
rim,
You
catches
mean,
lobs, but I think he has a higher ceiling.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you're kind of right because remember Bogut pulled out those moves, but you guys know this. Everybody watching knows this. Wiseman moves way
His
better than
ball
Bogut.
handling for a big man is absolutely some of those highlight
Yeah,
reels. I'm like, is this guy really that tall? He also
right.
reminds me a little bit of a like Bam Adebayo kind of sort.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Bam sometimes initiates the offense, but let's not get too far on a tangent. Let's get
Yeah.
back to Kelly Oubre. Yeah, so this deal, first of all, when you're dealing with OKC and Sam Presti, the first thing when I heard that, I legitimately was a little bit worried because people were like, wait a minute, are we dealing Looney perhaps? And we all love Looney. If you're a diehard Warriors
Oh
fan, you love
yes.
Looney. But I tell you what, Kerr loves him even more than you or I do. And that's because he spent every single day with Looney and has seen him struggle and come back and all that. And Looney, as you guys know, is just a great guy. So that was like the first scare. And then second scare was, okay, well, is it the Minnesota pick next year? And then that was quickly shot down by Anthony Slater because it's just a CBA thing. You can't trade that one, thank goodness. So we knew it was going to be some other picks, and then I was thinking, oh, okay, let's harken back to like Chris Webber deal where you got to give up 3 future first rounders in over what we call skipping years. Like, so I was thinking 2022, 2024, 2026, or whatever, right? But turns out it's what, one pick
One
that
protected pick.
one protected pick. So look, if we suck, if we end up bottom 10, we get to keep the pick. That's how I remember it. Like
Yeah.
the
If
guys on our
it,
Discord,
I
I
believe
got
it's
it
top
mixed up
20.
today. Yeah, yeah. So well, is it top? So, my brain is fried at this point. I just know that if we suck, we keep the pick. And
Yep.
then
Basically.
OKC gets 2 second rounders. That's how I remember it.
Yep.
Um, Sooner or later, when I get my energy back, I can really memorize that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're top 20, then what happens?
If we're top 20, I think we keep it.
Wow,
Yeah, a
that's
top
great. Yeah,
20. Yeah, it's the top
yeah,
20 protected
there we
first
go.
round pick.
Thank you so much. Okay, so first of all, we didn't get fleeced by Sam Presti. How many teams don't get fleeced by Sam Presti? And then that made me think, and this, I love trying to make the sophisticated, followers on here, subscribers on here, think just a little bit deeper. Like, why didn't Bob Myers get fleeced? And then I was thinking, like, Bob, he, even in today's press conference at Chase, he addresses all the reporters by their first names. Like, hey, yo, I know you. And like, it's kind of just a cool thing to do. Everybody should, that should be in, public relations 101 at NYU, right?
100%.
And I have an interesting story. He doesn't really know me because I don't ask like tons of questions like a beat writer. And besides, when you're doing beat writing stuff with the GM, guess what? That takes up a lot of questions, a lot of detail, and he takes his time answering the questions. All of his questions. We had one person on our Discord like volunteer to splice up the video. I said like, be careful because Myers, he talks a lot. Like he'll give you a totally articulate answer. And that was the case. She was like, "Oh yeah, those are long answers." And my point is that I don't know him as well as beat writers know him, but there was this one story I like to tell. Is it was like one of the summers where this Team USA, maybe it was at Oracle, maybe it was at you know T-Mobile in Las Vegas or wherever he happened to be at, and I was covering it because it was like Steph and Klay were on the team, and maybe it was the one Draymond was on. I can't remember, and that was the year. I guess this was earlier than that because this was the year when Mo Spates was sort of just kind of left behind, and then he had to figure out his own way to go get the deal with the Clippers. And so this was after that happened. So I saw Myers in the tunnel, so I stopped him, had my phone out, and I was like recording him, and I was asking, "Hey, can I ask you a couple questions?" Oh, okay, yeah. So I asked him about Mo Spates, right, and it's actually on this channel somewhere. You can find it. And he gave the pretty cool standard answer that he and Steve Kerr would normally give you, you know, neutral type of response. And then he goes, "Who is this for?" Because he didn't really know me, right? And I'm like, "Let's go Warriors." And he kind of gave me this blank look. He's like, "Okay." So I don't know if he really knows that we exist, even though I'm sure he's seen me around, but
By now, probably.
So anyway, my point is, I really do think Bob Myers has this
Yeah.
sort of way with people, right? Like, so he's dealing with Sam Presti, and Presti's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to fleece Bob. I'm
Well,
not
I
going to
think
ask
there's
for,
that and the
you
fact
know,
that OKC is just racking up so many picks that
yeah,
they
well,
were like, we don't need to get
look,
greedy on this one.
yeah, okay, so there's that. That's a good point. But I'm just glad that they didn't ask for like Mike Mulder. Oh no, you got
Or
to
a
throw
younger
Mike Mulder
prospect. Yeah.
or another draft pick 2022 or Juan Toscano Anderson, and we need Juan just in case. He's a 3-and-D guy, and we need him just in case he can grow into a bona fide, playoff reliable type guy. So I'm glad that the deal was the deal, and I think it's a fabulous deal, isn't it? I mean, you got to
I
wonder,
like it for both teams.
are other GMs like, how the hell did Myers get Oubre for that much, right?
Well, like, to be honest, I was surprised that Phoenix let him go
Yeah, I know, right? Well,
because
they
like Phoenix
they
was
had
on
to
the
because they
rise.
they brought in Chris Paul, and Chris Paul 40 million a year, so you got to make room for him. And Oubre was the guy that wasn't there when they went 8-0 in the bubble. So everybody
True.
who speculated that he was expendable, they were right. Crazy. I don't
But
know. I wouldn't have done the deal. I don't know, because the West is so tight, and like, so you get Chris Paul, you're going to be what, 6th seed at best now. I don't know. Just let these young kids grow. But you know what? I'm happy we got Oubre out of
I'm
it.
happy for us. I mean, Kelly Oubre has just been kind of one of those players that has just been kind of getting periodically better. He obviously had his best season last year with Phoenix. Almost 19 points a game, 35% from three.
Nice. That's great.
Obviously there are parts where he needs to work on.
Hey,
Um,
talk about this. Talk about this, because now Oubre probably takes the 2 spot, right? Wiggins is the 3, right? Or vice
I
versa,
mean,
or it
that's
doesn't
still a
matter.
definite playoff contender in the Western Conference. I mean, people seem to forget that Steph Curry is an MVP.
But who's the official 2 guard, right? You kind of
I
got to
guess
wonder,
it
like,
would
who's,
be Oubre.
I know, I was thinking maybe it was Wiggins. I mean, like, who cares, right? It's Kerr system. But at the same time, someone has to take Klay's spot in the X's and O's. Like, oh, you curl around, on day one, Marquise Chris. I don't think Wiseman's going to start on day one. I think he'll grow into the role, but that's for separate video. Um, so I'm thinking Wiggins is the 2, Oubre's the 3, just because Wiggins is Wiggins a better shooter? I don't know. You probably know better than I do.
Let's see. I'm not sure statistically.
Okay,
But
good,
you know,
good. 35. I didn't know he was at 35%. That's pretty decent for 3.
yeah.
But one of those 2 guys has to step into the 2 guard spot, unless, now here's my only worry. Now we got to talk about the MLE, the DPE. So the Warriors are going to go get the disabled player exception, which is the DPE, and it's worth over 9 million, which is the standard MLE. Now their taxpayer MLE spot is going to go to some veteran out there, but that's only 5.7 million because they're a taxpayer. So now with this disabled player exception, who are you going to go and get? We both think it's Avery Bradley, and it would be great to have him, and you can tell everybody why. But I just want to throw in there, what if we already promised Oubre a starting spot, and then we
Well, I wasn't gonna
it's probably not a
consider
problem.
Avery Bradley a
Probably not a problem.
starter anyway.
Okay, there you go. Well, maybe he's trying to be a starter. I think he would have started instead of KCP on the Lakers. I don't know, but
Well,
I
KCP
just
actually was
that's
the other
the
name I was
only
gonna bring up.
okay. I think KCP can have bird rights with the Lakers, i.e., he can
I
make
think he's
more
unrestricted.
re-signing. I don't know. Sorry, guys, we're not like total salary cap
At least
expert
based on what I'm looking
nerds.
at online, he's listed as unrestricted. Which as a
Okay,
3-and-D player, I mean, he really is.
all
I
right.
mean, he was great for them in the finals and in the playoffs. So he could be another one kind of within there that I think
Yeah,
could. But personally, kind of the first thing that came to mind was when Avery Bradley was released. Because he's been one
because of
since
his
his days
defense.
on the Celtics. I was like, I want them to go get him. Because
Yeah,
he was one of the defenders that could actually bother
yep,
Steph and Klay.
yeah. So he can bother any 2 or 1 out there. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of fans forget is the chemistry, not on offense, but on defense. And you know why that comes to mind? Because we talked to Travis Walton yesterday, that's Draymond's trainer, and he talked exactly about defensive IQ and all of that. And what do you do on the weak side? Weak side help defense. It started really going into some awesome, explanations there. So yeah, Avery Bradley, tell everybody the salary situation with Avery and the DPE, because I think we should just go out and overpay him. Just, that's what
I mean, I don't 100% disagree. I mean, when you look at his 3-point percentage, he's around a 36% um, 3 point shooter, which, but like really his prime to me when I look at it was like when he was in Boston those few years where he was really in effect like averaging over a steal per game. There was like a season where he was like I don't know how to put it in words. To me, he was always one of those nuisance guys. So I'm not totally against them overpaying him, if that makes sense. It's a 1-year deal.
right. 1 year deal. And if you're Avery Bradley, somebody brought this up in our Discord. They're like, I think it's been reported that he wants a long-term deal. And actually, the report, which was aggregated by NBC, I can't stand it. Sorry. But they aggregated it and they didn't say where they got that information from, which frustrated me. But I think it's just a matter of every free agent wants a long-term deal. Okay, so I can accept that.
And if he's going to get
Um,
overpaid,
yeah, so one
then
year
like he
overpaid,
might be
yeah, why
willing to
not?
settle
Thank you. Yeah,
and to
exactly.
see a team where he could potentially have a role on. And then I think
Yeah,
the other thing that comes with him, because he is at this point, I mean, he's not that old. He's 24.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he
and
still has places he can go, but in a lot of ways, he is kind of a veteran defender and will offer a lot of the younger guys on the team some help defensively. And then I think that's the other biggest thing is Klay really was like, I mean, like I said before, there's no replacing Klay. And I think all of Dub Nation knows that. Um, but like
we had. Go
um,
ahead.
he just, he will take some of that pressure off Steph. So
Yeah,
obviously you don't want Steph to have that toughest defense, that like matchup. So if you need a guy to come in and play, if you're going against Atlanta and you don't want to put Steph on Trae Young, something like that. And I mean, at this point, they are building a pretty team that is pretty lengthy.
yeah. So we need another 3-and-D guy for sure. The MLE. Um, I don't want to say for sure. The Oubre, is that enough? Get Oubre, Wiggins, and I guess Juan Toscano as true 3-and-D guys. Well, I didn't want to get too much on a tangent here. I mean, we could talk about that for days, and I just want to just provide like a 15-minute quickie update thing. So at Chase Center, they introduced Wiseman, introduced Nico Mannion. I thought it was funny. The one thing I remember from the whole thing was Bob Fitzgerald was like trying to joke with James Wiseman, right? And this shows you how like serious James Wiseman is coming in. This was like, oh, so you gonna teach Steph how to dunk? Just joking, right? Wiseman goes, oh no, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other thing. The thing just totally went over his head, like the sarcasm. And I love that because sometimes I'm that way. Like it's just ingrained. I was just kind of brought up with no sarcasm in the household, just immigrant family, and we just didn't do those kind of American jokes. And that's sometimes why Twitter befuddles me sometimes because of the sarcasm that I don't understand there. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. I was kind of cool to see James like that. Nico Mannion was here, and
I like
so
that
that
pick a lot too.
that gets you updated. Yeah, Myers admitted that they picked Nico Mannion because he was still on the board at the time, and so just being one of those best player available type pick. I want to go through the comments. When I go through some of these comments, well, we'll come to what's happening next. So, okay, I love to see some of you guys that I always see, like Carly Edwards. What's up? I see you. You know. Okay, so you guys are saying Chris Dunn. I haven't done like any research on him. But I think he's a point guard, so backup point guard. I see the name Jeremy Lin. Yeah, I mean these are
To
all
me, Chris
like,
Dunn is, I would say he's like in the same category as like having another Quinn Cook,
is he
at
that
least in my
small?
opinion. Chris
He's
Dunn,
not
like
that
that's
small.
what?
He's not that small. Like Quinn Cook was
He's a
waived
little
today
bigger,
by the
yeah.
Lakers. Yeah, yeah. So I don't really. I think what you mean is positionally.
Yeah.
Quinn Cook to me is an exact, not exact. I mean, I'd rather have Quinn Cook than Kai Bowman. The problem is Bowman is on the Bucks. Like we owe him at least until a certain time when we got to guarantee him or not. So how could you have Quinn Cook and Bowman on the team at the same time? You can't do that, which is at the beginning of the season. Serge Ibaka up here. Yeah, the only thing we got left with Serge Ibaka is well, we can go disabled player exception on him. I just think Toronto's gonna re-up with him. Like he's core to Toronto, and they'll say bye-bye to Gasol because he did not play well in the bubble. I was pretty disappointed with him, but I was kind of rooting for the Raptors to win a few. Not against the Heat, rooting for your Miami Heat, well, your other team because you're from Florida. Um, and we got a down here sign J.R. Smith 3 times. All right, I see that, but I don't even know how to respond to that just yet. I haven't. I think I'm at the point where I'm good. We got Oubre. I'm pretty good, and let's just see what happens. I never get mad over who they get. Uh, I'm good also because they picked Wiseman, so pretty happy. So that's the only thing that we wanted to like kind of just catch up everybody. Anything coming up besides your
I'm
trip
just
to
looking in
taste
the
spring break?
comments and noticing Jeremy Lin's popping up a lot.
Yeah, I mean internationally, which I love the fact that YouTube is so international. I mean, Jeremy is, it would make sense from a marketing standpoint for the Warriors. And is he good enough to kind of check those boxes? Like solid kind of backup point, won't complain, and huge marketing. Why not?
Yeah.
Uh, it'd be great actually if we did get Jeremy just because I actually know him and we could get some more content about him. I would think. So I really, Jeremy Lin and Wiseman have been my only two NBA draft, people that I've fallen in love with. Jeremy, just because it was personal back then from the Bay Area, and I watched him so closely, I knew he could make the NBA when everybody said he couldn't. So you guys go look that up. Golden State of Mind, Jeremy Lin, it's right there. And I got a lot of flack for that back then. A lot of haters. That was on Golden State of Mind. And then Wiseman. So uh, I'm happy with that. So coming up, Warriors, they haven't announced anything in terms of training camp and all of that, but free agency starts what tomorrow? So
It's tomorrow the
here we go.
20th. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we'll start free agency, and then they can officially sign starting the 22nd.
Okay. Oh yeah, someone's mentioning Joe Harris. Oh, man, you're just throwing out names,
I
aren't
think
you?
Joe Harris is going to get more
Gio
money
Bree.
than that.
Yeah. Guys, let me give you some advice. If you're a fan, don't just throw out names. Please, we actually have this requirement on our Discord server is you got to go look up salary caps, like who's making what. So if you go to our Discord and you suggest a trade, you have to put how much that guy's making. And the easiest way is I like the Hoops Hype site because their salary tables are the easiest. Now there's Sport Track or Spot Track. That's the other one people like, but their website is so heavy. It's like too much. Just give me the plain HTML version. And that's Hoops Hype. So you just Google Hoops Hype, Warriors salaries, or for Joe Harris, it'd be Hoops Hype, Nets salaries. Boom, go there. You see how much he's making? Oh my God, 12 million. how the heck are we going to afford? Like, he can't fit anywhere
Actually, he did
on
make
our team.
just about 8 million last year, but he had a great season, so he's going to get paid more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why I kind of mentally put him at 12.
Because that's
You
going to
know,
be what he is.
yeah. So he's not going to come here for what, the disabled player, for 9 million, like a salary raise from 8 to 9 million. That's not really all that much. Like, he's looking to cash in after his solid play and 3-point contest win. So that's all I'm saying is, guys, be a smarter fan and go look up the salary table first before you make a suggestion. Um, but I think we should just wrap it up because we go on and on. In fact, we've probably gone way over than I wanted to, probably at 20 minutes now, and I want to go 10. And tell us what you're going to do this week. Where are you? You're not at NYU. Just explain all of that.
No, it's been a wild school year with COVID. So all my classes are virtually. So I've actually been out I'm usually in Miami. I'm from Florida.
Number one NBA city. So like, over the past couple of years, as I've gotten to know the city of Miami,
It's a
so
wild
much.
city.
A distant second is New York. I mean, people think I'm crazy, but seriously, Miami, go there, go watch Warriors, go watch any game. Miami versus Charlotte, do it.
Yeah, it's not quite where it was at one point, but it's getting back to that. Um, so, but I'm not in Florida right now either. I've actually been out on the West Coast for the past few months, just kind of doing like a summer program and doing schoolwork out somewhere different. So actually,
Yeah,
it's my last weekend here. So I'm actually taking the drive up to the Bay this weekend, and I'm gonna head out. I have not
and
seen the Chase
you're in
Center yet.
Monterey, right?
Yeah, I'm
You're in
in
Monterey.
Monterey,
I
so
mean,
it's about
that's
two
such a
hours.
genius. That's a genius selection. Like, how did you know? Good for you. Good for you.
I just love it here.
All right, so you're gonna drive up here to Chase.
Yeah, and I'm gonna check out Chase Center, kind of the whole area around it, and then I'm actually been really wanting to go to the Warriors shop.
Yeah,
I've heard from someone. I actually worked at the NBA store, the flagship store in New York.
right.
So one of my
Cool.
bosses there was like a big time Warriors guy from the
Oh,
Bay.
cool.
So he told me how like awesome the new Warriors shop was. So
All
now I
right.
kind of feel like I got to go check it out.
Yeah, it's
So
nice.
I'm planning on checking out. I'm gonna try and get some video posted up because
Yeah,
like I know as
maybe
a
you can go
fan, I've
live.
wanted to know what it looks like inside.
I would suggest that you go live for like, 2 minutes, 2, 3 minutes, and then you do the, one that we can edit and upload. And so if you guys have any requests for, like, you went to the Warrior shop online and you saw something you really wanted and you want Rebecca to do a close-up of it, I guess,
Unfortunately, the Oakland jerseys are not out yet.
yeah, well, guys, just hit me up. Probably just send me a Twitter at Let's Go Warriors, or my handle on my Zoom name right here, Poor Man's Commish. I don't know. I mean, just that's the easiest. Like, you gotta just go ahead and find me there. Like, go the extra mile to contact us that way if you really want something. It's YouTube comments are just too hard to sort through. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so that's it. That's a great. I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of 24-hour, 36-hour update. Like I said, doing my best to try and do more Zooms with Clay's trainer. That would be a huge get. You know what we're doing on the Discord is we're sending Clay sort of like personal tributes, like little Instagram stories, like 15 seconds. So again, if you guys want to, anybody out there on YouTube wants to send something to Clay, a little message, especially if you've been in rehab, like, I think he could really relate, again, one more time, to people who are going through injuries right now or have been. I think that would be like extra special rather than me. I mean, he's going to get that anyways. But if it's coming from somebody who's going through what he's going through, that would be extra special. And again, just find us on Twitter and hit us up that way to get your tribute. Okay, we're done here. I'm gonna stop the stream, guys. And thank you for joining us, everybody. Stop.